Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kaylee. I hope you can hear me well. This video is very different than any videos I've ever done, and I'm probably gonna cry because I just want to share my story because it's still affecting me. I got sexually assaulted when I was 19, and I'm still going through shit. It's hard. It's like most of the time I'm okay, and then one thing can trigger me, you know. Sometimes I can even just talk about it, but I don't know, it's different each time I talk about it, or just I don't know how to explain it. And I'm not sharing this to get sympathy or judgment or anything. Like, I'm just sharing this because I need to get it off my chest. And for those that don't know, I want just, I guess, everyone to know. You know, I'm ready for everyone to know, I guess. Because I have been alone in all of this for years, and it's just hard going through something alone. And I don't know, recently at work, where I work now, it's just a similar situation that happened, you know, in the past, and I don't want the past to repeat at all, and I'm not going to let it. It's just, I mean, it's given me the strength to realize what I'm doing and how to react and how to take things and what I can and can't deal with. I just hope this doesn't happen to anyone. I mean, the day that it happened was one of the scariest days of my life. Every time I really think about it, I just never want to feel that way again. And not even just that specific day, but just the entire time that I was with this guy. I mean, I do not ever want to feel that way again. Like, I literally was so scared for my life. Like, I thought, like, I could have died because we had all been drinking, and I was so weak. Like, I was so out of it. Like, I couldn't have done anything. So if something happened, I would have been gone. And so, the day was May 12th, 2020, that night. So a little backstory is this guy, his name's Eric, Eric Jr. We had been friends with benefits for the last, 2017, since 2017, 2020, and I don't even know why I pursued or even went after him, because he had a girlfriend, child on the way, and I guess I was just so desperate for attention. You know, I wasn't getting anything from anyone else. I wasn't getting attention from parents. Like, I was basically alone, so I think I was just so desperate for attention, and I would get the attention from him, you know? Like, we worked together, so it was just like a connection, and just everything I did, like, I blame myself, you know? Like, I am in the wrong just as he is, you know. And like I don't even know when, but like a little bit after I stopped being around him and his family, I messaged him and said, look, we were both at fault, you know. I'm the one who knew you had a girlfriend and I still went after you, but also you're in the wrong because you have a girlfriend and you went after me. Anyway, I went through so much with him and his family. From him stealing money, from him stealing my phone. I sold him my car. Luckily, I mean, he did pay, but, and then just stupid stuff, you know. And my parents tried to tell me, they tried to stop me from hanging out with him, but I'm like, no, you know, like, I'm getting this attention, and all I was doing was focusing on all the good times, you know. I'm like, oh, well, it's bad right now, but it'll be good later, or it'll be good tomorrow, or whatever. But I learned that it was gaslighting. He was gaslighting me and manipulating me, and like, he made me believe his girlfriend that he was with was so bad and terrible. So I think that's another reason why I kept doing things with him, because I'm like, oh, well, like, he'll break up with her and then be with me. And eventually he did break up with her, but we never actually got together. And honestly, I can say now that I'm so glad we never actually got together, with all the things that I saw him do, and just the way he would treat people, not even people, but like girls, and it was just, it wasn't okay. That's just a gist of it. There was one time that I don't necessarily consider it sexual assault, but there was this one night, I think it was actually like probably 2 days before my high school graduation, that I was hanging out with him and his dad, Eric Jr. and Eric Sr. And let's just say we were drinking. They left, got some drinks, and this was like the first time actually hanging out with like him and his dad. I probably had like 6 or so drinks, I don't even know, and then they wanted to do it with me, and I kept saying no, and like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, I said no, and no means no. But he was taking off my shirt and, you know, touching me, and then I guess like I gave in. But then again, like, I was drunk too, so obviously if I'm drunk, I'm more likely to say yes, and I think that's why they continued to push me. But anyway, I gave in, whatever. And then a few days later, they're like, oh, like, you said no, that is rape, you know, like, no means no, no matter what. So that whole ordeal happened, and I don't think I usually tell my mom things way before I tell my dad anything, and I can't necessarily remember what my mom said, but I do remember what my dad said. He's like, well, you put yourself in that situation. And I was just so upset. And actually, no, I don't think this was before graduation. I think it was like sometime after my graduation, because there were like 2 times where he stole my phone. Because that night he stole my phone. I don't know, there's so much that happened between us that it's like everything is kind of jumbled up in my brain. But I tried to get the cops involved, told them what happened, and then of course them being Mexican and having all these people that can back them up and whatnot. After like a couple of days, the cops were like, oh, well, like, we're not going to do anything or press charges because we think it's just because of your phone, because he stole your phone, you want it back. So nothing happened at all. And keep in mind that his dad already went to jail for sexually assaulting a kid. So the fact that they didn't do anything with him just blows my mind. And then, getting off topic here, a family member of mine, a woman says something, and then he goes to jail for life. It's like, I don't know. Plus, there wasn't like any actual proof. I tried to go to the hospital, get checked out and all that, but then they're like, oh, like, you have to do it right after it happens. But I'm like, ain't no way a woman is gonna want to go to a hospital after she gets sexually assaulted to get checked out. Because I know for a fact when it actually happened to me that night, all I was thinking about is I hope I get home safe, and I just shut down. I remember, and I'm like, oh, well, like, yeah, sure, I could go to the hospital and get checked out. But you also see in the movies, too, that, like, you can get checked out and still, like, be okay. Like, no proof. So I didn't want to take the chance in that. So I didn't do it. And another reason why I didn't do it is because it was a party. It was his 21st birthday. We were all drinking. And I was wearing a like white strapless top that had like the sleeves right here and then black ripped jeans. And it was like the very end of my period, like the 5th day. I think I worked a little bit that day, May 12th, and then that night, I got picked up by his dad, and then we drove like an hour, because that's where he was living. We drove like an hour to where he was living with his current girlfriend. There was like him, his sister, dad, obviously, the girlfriend, 2 or 3 other like guys. There weren't too many people, but there were a few, you know. Oh, their mom, and I had already had a few drinks before even getting there because I brought my own drinks, and I had a few of their drinks, and then we were sitting out on the porch. Eric's sister was smoking some weed. I'm like, oh, hey, can I have some weed? They were like, it's strong. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. This is when I regret everything. This is when everything changes. I take a hit, a pretty big hit, and it pretty much hits me right away. Again, my fault for smoking the weed after been drinking so much, and I mean, I had thrown up and whatnot. I take a hit of the weed, and then I just remember being kind of passing out. I don't know, I just remember being so tired and just like couldn't really move. You know how like weed can just relax you? Like that's like I was just like relaxed and like almost dead weight. I don't know. I don't really remember much being on the porch after I take the hit. I just remember being in and out. I think I hallucinated a fire. I remember seeing a fire for some reason. I don't know if it was, they told me that it was like a flame, like a lighter. But I remember there being like a little bonfire out in the yard. But I have no idea. That's the only thing I'm not certain about. That's when I became scared. That's when I started to become scared. So whether it was a flame, a candle, or a fire, like bonfire in the yard, after that, I think they were noticing that, like, I just couldn't stand. I couldn't, like, I wasn't okay. So Eric and his dad take me to the truck, and like I couldn't walk. Like I was just stumbling. And then, they got me into the truck, and I just remember them, or Junior, taking off my pants and underwear, and I remember just, to them, it's me technically helping them, taking off my pants, whatever. Like, I just remember trying to stop them, trying to move around, and I kept saying no and stop, and while everyone else was on the porch, partying, them two and me were in the truck. And then from what I can remember, they both did it to me, not at the same time, obviously. But Junior, he did it real quickly, and then he's like, all right, Dad, your turn. And then he went back to the party, and then I remember Senior asking me, like, do you like it? Does it feel good? Like, all of this stuff, all of that stuff. And I just remember just saying, like, to them I was mumbling, but to me I was saying, like, I wasn't saying anything. I was just numb at that point, because they weren't stopping. And and then he basically finished and went back to the party, I think. I just remember, or someone came to the truck, I don't know exactly. I just remember having a blanket over me, and then them taking me inside the house to, like, sleep it off. And I was carrying this damn blanket over my waist because I didn't have any pants on. I don't know if I had underwear on or what. I just remember trying to cover up so no one could see, and them taking me into the house because I couldn't walk. I laid down on the bed, and I was so scared they were gonna do it again, but they didn't, which I'm glad. But then Eric's girlfriend found out I was in the house, wanted me out. Him and his dad had a huge fight. I just remember yelling outside, like, stop, like, the cops are gonna come. We don't need the cops to come, and this and that. And then they grabbed me, take me into the truck, and, with me being covered up, and I remember Eric's sister was like, don't leave, please don't leave, like, you've been drinking, we don't want you to leave, we don't want you to get in a car crash, we don't want, like, we know how you are when you've been drinking and when you're upset. And this is when I was just so scared for my fucking life, because I couldn't do anything. Like, I was just talking to myself in my head. I'm like, I can't do anything. And like, they were scared, which was making me scared. And especially after what happened to me. His sister was like, Kaylee, come on, like, don't go with him, don't leave with him. Like, I was so numb, like, I was just so still and silent, like, I couldn't move, you know, like, I wanted to get out of the truck, I did, but I didn't know what was going on exactly, you know, like, I wasn't so aware. But I was so scared, and then luckily everything was still in the truck. We drove off, and I was just, I hope we don't get in a wreck. I hope we're okay. I just want to go home. I remember telling myself, I just want to go home. I was so scared. I mean, luckily he pulled over and stopped somewhere for the night instead of just taking me home. So I'm glad that we were safe in that sense. And then, like, he could tell something was up with me, because he kept trying to talk to me on the way, taking me home. And then I remember I remember that morning, I'm like, where are my pants? Where's my phone? You know, where are things? And then, like, I saw stuff on that, you know. I'm like, oh, I want to get home. He was trying to hold my hand. I didn't want to hold his hand, but I think I did, because, like, I didn't want him to think something was up. But he knew. He took me home, got home, went upstairs, and I think I asked myself, I'm like, did that really happen to me? You know, luckily my mom was at work, because, like, I did not want to see her, because I remember taking off my clothes, and I do remember thinking to myself, I'm like, if I want to go to the cops, you know, I can. I would have to do it now. You know, I could drive myself. I would have to do it right now, before I take a shower, before I do anything. But I remember I didn't want to. I just wanted to forget about it. I wanted to forget about it. I'm like, I'm not going to think about this anymore. And that's basically what I did. I mean, that whole day, obviously, like, I had to kind of process, like, did that really happen to me? And I was debating on if I wanted to tell Eric's mom and sister and all that, and I didn't for a while. I don't think I did for a couple of days, a few days, but I know they knew what happened, because Desiree was right there, or someone, you know, I knew. Anyway, they didn't believe me when I did tell them. They said, no, you wanted it. Like, no. Anyway, I remember just blocking them, especially Eric Sr., Eric Jr. The second I got home, I blocked them on my phone. And then A few days later, I tried telling the sister and mom, but they didn't believe me. I sent them pictures too. Still didn't believe me. And then after that, I pretty much, like, I didn't forget about it, because obviously you can't just forget about it. I wish you could. But I tried my best to just stay busy, you know, work. And then that's when I started getting into, like, the whole van life, car life, and shit. I mean, it's definitely affected me more than I thought, because it's 3 years later and I'm still working through stuff. I just remember being so scared for my life, and I just don't ever want to feel that way again. But then I didn't talk to any of them for about 9-10 months later. You know, obviously I didn't forget about the incident, but I'm like, what can I do? You know, it is what it is. It happened, you know, I can't. And I was stupid. I got with the dad. That was 2021. Almost exactly a year from when it happened. They said, no, it wasn't me, da da da, that was, you know, that was him, not me. Anyway, I was just like, I want to forget about it. I don't want to talk, think about it. I let it go. And things were good with them, you know, that next year. But there were definitely a lot of things I didn't talk to them about, a lot of things that I didn't do. And then that's like a month later, that's when I moved everything up into my car and moved up here to Colorado. So I think it's still, like, I didn't really cut them off until 2021. So it's still so fresh to me, and like, it's so hard for me to trust anyone nowadays. I can't really get close to anyone because I was so close to them and like their family. Like, I felt like a part of their family, and even though a lot of the time I didn't like what I was doing, I was just so desperate for attention, and they were the only ones that I knew, and I didn't want to be alone. So I was like, well, you know, I don't want to be alone. They're the ones that I have. I'll just stay around. But all I can say is, like, if you're in any type of situation, domestic violence, whatever, anything similar, get out. Please. Like, I had the choice to leave and just stay to myself, but I didn't. I didn't want to be alone. And then that happened to me, and that's what it took for me to leave. And then, like, when everyone found out I was with their dad, you know, like, my family realizing, they're like, you're better than this, you know. I was just, I don't even, like, I wasn't thinking. I obviously wasn't thinking, because I was just so used to all the trauma and all the gaslighting and all the, like, bad toxic stuff that, like, it was just normal, you know. Like, people in that environment and situation, they're so used to it that they just go back. So I think, like, that's kind of what I did, is, like, I went back. Obviously, I never talked to Eric Jr. again. I never really saw him again. No, I think I did see him once. But other than that, I mean, we never spoke again. And I haven't spoken to any of them since I left in 2021. Like I said in my videos, you know, like, I had to get out. I couldn't be there anymore. And that's one reason why I don't ever want to go back to Texas, because of all the bad memories I have. had, and all I wanted to do was remember all the good times, you know, and that's what I did. I remembered all the good times, and I'm like, oh, well, you know, like, it can be good, you know, people make mistakes, or I wasn't giving them, like, excuses. I was just, at that point, I'm like, I couldn't have done anything, and as much as I would have loved for them to go to jail or prison, anyone and everyone would have backed them up, and I didn't want to go through all that trauma again with people siding on their side, and I didn't want my dad to be like, oh, well, you put yourself in that situation. I think it took me a month or two later to tell my mom, and then, like, my mom didn't really say anything. Like, she's like, sorry, and that's why it's so hard for me to tell people. It's because it's like, what can you really do? You know, there's really nothing you can say, you know? I mean, you can be there for that person, but that's the thing. No one, family, no one, like, checked up on me. Like, no one realized I was depressed and sad and just wanting to get out. I had panic attacks. I would always cry myself to sleep. I mean, and nowadays, like, if I get triggered, I have to step away. My last episode was in December, this past December, so 2022, and then I had an episode 2 nights ago. But, you know, it's something I'm gonna have to go through for the rest of my life, you know? Overall, it has made me stronger, but at the same time, I just can't trust anyone. It's hard to trust anyone. I'm scared to really get close to people. I don't smoke weed anymore. I don't really drink, and if I do drink, it's only 1 or 2 drinks instead of like 5 or 6. Like, I'm always aware, because I'm like, I do not want that to happen again. Like, I always just want to be aware. I don't go out anywhere by myself. I don't ever put myself in a situation where I'm drinking and I'm with a male. And okay, so I'm back. I had to take a little break, but before this gets any longer, and if you have stayed this long and listened, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. It's not something you really want to hear, not something I would have wanted to go through, but I mean, there's so many things that have happened even in just the past year that I didn't realize was affecting me because of what happened to me. But I think, you know, this is good for me to talk about it, because, and for, I guess, people to know, just so then people can be there for me, because obviously I'm not going to talk about it with family. I was alone. No one was there for me. No one checked up on me. No one, like, and I didn't even care to really check up on myself. And there's so much that I've gone through, and I'm just glad that I did move up here in my car, because things have been a lot better. I'm definitely working through things, obviously, and I mean, this is gonna be with me for the rest of my life, which sucks. Hopefully the more I tell my story, the easier it'll be, so maybe one day I won't have to cry when I tell the story. it's hard for me nowadays to like have friends and really communicate. I hate that it's still affecting me, like, just when you think you've gone through it and, you know, dealt with it, and then you get triggered again, and then you feel those feelings and just everything that comes along with it. I think what I'm gonna do is get a tattoo that represents that I'm like strong and that us sexual assault survivor victims can get through anything, that we're strong, and it's like a flower fire symbol. So I'm gonna try and get it right here, just as part of a closure, and to show myself that I'm strong and that no matter what, I can get through anything. And yeah, I mean, if you've stayed to the end of the video, thank you. I appreciate it. If you guys have any tips for me on how to get through this, I mean, I've tried to get my mom to get me to go to therapy, you know, put it on her credit card or whatever, and she just doesn't want me to spend more money on the credit card or whatever. But I tell her mental health is more important, and it really is, but I have to go through things alone. You know, I have to journal. I have to be strong and cope on my own. And I hate that, but, you know, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. I've tried talking, and things are good for me now, for the most part. So I'm just gonna, you know, take it day by day from now on, and just try to have a good time, because you only live once, and I just want to make the most of it. So I will talk to you guys later.